Olmsted, explains how he instigated a secret investigation of the decrepit town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, a former seaport isolated from other nearby towns by vast salt marshes by the US government after fleeing it on July 16, 1927. The investigation ultimately concluded with the arrest and detention of many of the town's residents in concentration camps, as well as a submarine torpedoing nearby Devil Reef, which the press falsely reported as prohibition liquor raids. The narrator proceeds to describe in detail the events surrounding his initial interest in the town, which lies along the route of his tour across New England, taken when he was a 21-year-old student at Oberlin College. While waiting for the bus that will take him to Innsmouth, Olmsted busies himself in neighboring Newburyport by gathering information on the town's history from the locals, all of it having superstitious overtones. The town was once a profitable port and a shipbuilding center during the colonial and post-revolutionary periods, but began to decline after the War of 1812 interrupted shipping. A local merchant named Obed Marsh built a profitable gold refinery, but the town only deteriorated further. After riots and the mysterious epidemic eliminated half of its residents, 1845. Marsh also founded a pagan cult, the Esoteric Order of Dagon, which became the town's primary religion. Outsiders and government officials, including Census Bureau agents and school inspectors, are treated with hostility. Olmsted finds Innsmouth to be a mostly deserted fishing town, full of dilapidated buildings and people who walk with a distinctive shambling gait, and have queer, narrow heads with flat noses and bulgy, starry eyes. Both the town and its residents are saturated with the odor of dead fish. The only resident who appears normal is a grocery store clerk from neighboring Arkham, who was transferred there by the chain. The narrator gathers much information from the clerk, including a map of the town and the name of Zadok Allen, an elderly local who might give him information when plied with drink. The narrator meets Zadok, who, after the narrator gives him a bottle of whiskey, explains that while trading in the Caroline Islands, Marsh discovered a Canaanite tribe in Pompeii who offered human sacrifices to a race of immortal fish-like humanoids, the Deep Ones. The Canaanite also bred with Deep Ones, producing hybrid offspring, which have the appearance of normal humans in childhood and early adulthood, but eventually slowly transform into Deep Ones themselves and leave the surface to live in ancient undersea cities for eternity. When hard times fell on the town, Marsh's cult performed similar sacrifices to the Deep Ones in exchange for wealth in the form of large fish hauls and unique jewelry. When Marsh and his followers were arrested, the Deep Ones retaliated by attacking the town and killing more than half of its population. The survivors were left with no other choice than to join the cult and continue Marsh's practices. Male and female inhabitants were forced to breed with the Deep Ones, producing hybrids who upon maturing permanently migrate underwater to live in the city of Yahantlei, located underneath Devil Reef. The town is now dominated by Marsh's grandson, Barnabas, who is almost fully transformed into a Deep One. Zadok explains that these ocean dwellers have designs on the surface world and have been planning the use of Shoggoths to conquer or transform it. Zadok sees strange waves approaching the dock and tells the narrator that they have been seen, urging him to leave the town immediately. The narrator is unnerved, but ultimately dismisses the story. Once he leaves, Zadok disappears and is never seen again. After being told that the bus is experiencing engine trouble, the narrator has no choice but to spend the night in a musty hotel. While attempting to sleep, he hears noises at his door, as if someone is trying to enter. Wasting no time, he escapes out a window and through the streets, while a town-wide hunt for him occurs, forcing him at times to imitate the peculiar walk of the Innsmouth locals as he walks past such parties in the darkness. Eventually, Olmsted makes his way towards railroad tracks and hears a procession of Deep Ones passing in the road before him. Against his judgment, he opens his eyes to see the creatures. Finds that they have gray-green skin, fish-like heads with unblinking eyes, gills on their necks, and webbed hands, and communicate in unintelligible croak-like voices. Horrified, Olmsted faints. But wakes up at noon the next day, alone and unharmed. After reaching Arkham and alerting government authorities about Innsmouth, Olmsted discovers that his grandmother was related to Obed Marsh's family. Although the origins of her mother were unclear. Olmsted's uncle had previously visited Arkham to research his ancestry before killing himself by a gunshot. After returning home, The narrator begins researching his family tree and discovers that he's a descendant of Marsh through his second wife, Puftali. And by 1930, begins to gradually transform into a deep one. Olmsted begins having dreams of his grandmother and Puftali in Huntley, which was damaged but not destroyed by the submarine attack. They explain that the deep ones will remain underwater for the time being, but will eventually return to invade the surface world for the tribute great Cthulhu craved. After briefly glimpsing a Shoggoth in one of his dreams, Olmsted awakens to find that he has fully acquired the Innsmouth look. Was too terrible, the truth was too terrible to bear. I was becoming one of them, a monster from the deep. I could feel the change happening within me, and I knew there was no going back. I was doomed to spend eternity in the darkness of the sea. Olmsted wants to kill himself and purchases a gun, but cannot go through with it. As Olmsted concludes his story, he suffers a mental breakdown and embraces his fate. He decides to break out his cousin, who's even further transformed than he, from a sanatorium in Canton, and take him to live